Therefore, understanding ourselves is like looking in the mirror and looking back about us, our own self. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, now how do we understand ourselves? Okay, so what we think and what we feel, when we merge that together at some point, it leads to self-understanding. Okay, it leads to us knowing ourselves. Okay, we may know that, okay, I don't like this food, I like this food. Okay, we may know that these are the games that I like playing, these are the type of movies I like watching, right? But then that's not the end of self-understanding. When it comes to career, you actually need to look deep down inside of you to know where lies your strength and where lies your weakness. I like this food. There are only then that these are the games that be able to choose the correct career for yourself. Yeah? And once you have the correct career for yourself, then you will have job satisfaction later on in life. Job satisfaction means you'll be happy with what you're doing. When you're happy to work, it makes the workplace a better place. Okay, so that's what it is about self-understanding. So this particular session will lead you to actually know yourself, all right, more. Can you go to the next class, next slide, please? Okay, self-understanding, what does it mean? It means know ourselves as we really are. Okay, our minds, that means what we're thinking, our emotions, what we feel, our behavior, okay, how do we behave towards ourselves and towards the people around us, and our being, just being us itself, our life, okay, our hope and our aspirations. Okay, these are some of the where it leads to self-understanding. You attain the sight into your attitudes, your motives, defenses, reactions, weaknesses, and strength. This is a definition of self-understanding from the Psychology Dictionary. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, what is a career? Okay. Career is a work experience comprising the entire lifespan of a person. This is by Gardner in the year 2001. This is how we define career. Okay. So it is a work experience comprising the entire lifespan of a person, where you work throughout your life. Okay, in that particular career that you have chosen, you're going to work in that field for the rest of your life. And Colin in the year 1998 defined career as interaction of individuals with organizations and society. Okay, no matter what career you choose or what course you have choose, directly or indirectly, you ended up interacting with people. You ended up interacting within the organization, or you ended up interacting with the society. So this interaction, it may be a direct interaction or it may be an indirect interaction. Okay, basically you're working for the organization or for the society. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, by Oxford English Dictionary, the definition is a person's course of progress through life. That means throughout life, how do you progress? It also pertains to his occupational or profession that usually involves special training or formal education and is considered to be a person's life work. Now, for example, I'll give you an example to this. Okay, for example, you have picked up to study in the Department of Allied Health Sciences. I'm going to talk about my own department because I'm familiar with that. Okay. So you have picked up, a particular course in the Allied Health Science Department, right? So in the Allied Health Science Department, our role as allied health professionals, most of the time does not have a direct impact with the, we don't meet with the patients directly, okay? So our role is we are indirectly, in contact with the patients through the doctors and the nurses, okay? Now, once you have cleared that course that you have picked up in the Allied Health Sciences, okay, you will have to progress, through that course throughout your life. Maybe you will get a promotion, okay, or maybe an increase, in your salary, okay, or else you may opt from your diploma to go to your bachelor and then to go to your master's. You even may opt for your doctoral degree, okay. So that's how you progress in that particular field that you are in. All right, and then you're going to work in that particular career that you have chosen throughout life. Okay, So it also pertains to his occupational or professional profession that usually involves training. For example, right now, whichever course you have picked up, you may have picked up psychology, you may have picked up the allied health sciences department, you may have picked up, music or fine arts. Okay, in any department that you are in, you are being specially trained for the 3 years or the 4 years that you are with us. Okay, trained for that particular profession. All right. Who is Rizayo? Can you please stop presenting? Who's Rizayo? Can you stop presenting, please, so that Dr. Melody can present the slides?
I request the students to kindly mute your microphone and do not present from your side. Otherwise, it will overlap with our presentation from our side. Risa, please check from your side.
Ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Can you go slowly because I cannot hear because the network is not working now.
Yes, sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay. Ma'am Nivaka, are you able to see the screen now? Your slide?
No, I cannot see.
Not yet, eh?
Yes.
Ma'am Melody, are you projecting from your side?
Yes, I'm projecting from my side. Wait, let me just share again.
Yeah, let's just try again.
Yeah.
Yes, now I can see. Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay. Traditional approach on how career starts and then how usually it declines. Okay, decline rate means when you decide to retire, okay, or to take a rest. Okay, so from the age of 0 to 18, okay, that is when we call it as an exploration stage, where majority those in the diploma, actually most of you would be at this stage. Okay, so for this stage actually is where you actually explore what career options do you have, or what do you want to do, or what do you want to become. Okay, then from the age of 18 to 35 is where the growth starts in your particular career, is where for some of you may have between 18 to 35. For some people it may be their first job, okay, or their first they've just completed their training courses in any professional courses, and then they started getting a job and they started working, and that's when the career starts growing. Okay, from the age of 35 to 45 is what we call as a maintenance. That is the where your career goes stable. Okay, it goes stable. Okay, you continue on with the work that you've been doing in a stable manner, and from the age of 45 to 65 is where a lot of us will a lot of the people will start to retire. Okay, so at the age of 50, at the age of 55, maybe 60, that's when the retirement starts. Okay, so that is where the decline stage of your career begins. Right? Okay, next slide, please. Okay. Self-understanding and career development starts with interest. Okay, the first thing is you should know what your interests are. Right? Next. Okay, and then next is okay, or you find out what your skills are. Okay, some of you may have already known what your skills are. For some of you may be still in the process of finding out what your skills are. So if you know your interest, what are you interested in, what do you like doing, and at the same time you know that you have the skills for it, then these, when you combine these two, it can lead to my melody. Yes, so it can lead to you having a potential to do, and or potential to flourish in or whichever career that you have chosen. Okay, so for you to be able to choose the correct career for yourself, is you have to know your interest, you have to know your skills, and you have to know your and then after that, both when you combine your interests and your skills, it increases your potential. Okay, or you become good at whatever you do. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, for example, okay, I'll just give you an example to identify the link between your self-understanding and your career development. For example, if you are interested in music, okay, you are interested in music, right? But if the career that you have opted or you have chosen is the MBA, okay? The career that you've chosen is MBA. Now, when you link your interest and your career, okay, that is music and MBA, you can become an entrepreneur. Okay, where you can, you may have, you may develop a studio, okay, a recording studio, right? Or you may even, what do you call, good, singers, okay, employ them and then, bring them up to their, up to the highest level that they can rise, and then you can earn from that actually. Okay, clear? Now, if you look back to the activity that we have given you on the self activity, the self understanding workbook. Okay, if you remember, you have filled up mostly on what are your work related interests, what are your recreational interests, okay, social interests, what are your educational interests. Okay, you have filled up on all of those. All right, and okay, related skills, you have your different interest in that, right? And also your emotions, okay, the different temperament or the emotions that you can relate to you, okay, you can relate to yourself. And also there is also the social influence, okay, finding out like if there is any social influence in maybe your family, in maybe the society, in maybe somebody who you look up to, okay, those can influence your choices or your personal goals. Okay, so that is the reason why, okay, we ask you to do that activity book is for you to be able to understand yourself, okay, to know yourself better. All right, so therefore when you actually fill in those tables and fill in that activity book, you have to be very truthful to yourself. Okay, only when you are truthful to yourself, then you will understand. Okay, you will know that, okay, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, this is where I'm good at, this is where I'm okay, and this is where I know I cannot do it. Okay, I'm poor at this, right? So then you will be able to understand, and when you understand yourself, you know what you're good at, you know where you stand, okay, you know what emotions you have, okay, and you know how you're able to interact, okay, or what are the things that influence you, which are present around you. Then only you will be able to know yourself better. Okay, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Ma'am Melody, the next slide, please. Okay. So Jola Whitney Townsend says this, okay, we need self-understanding to help us decide which career area best fits our values, interests, talent, and personality. Okay, so for you to be able to actually decide what you want to do or who you want to become, you have to know yourself better. For example, if you are afraid of blood, okay, if you are afraid of blood, then being in the allied health science courses is pointless. Okay, that because that is not your strength, that is your weaknesses. And in the allied health science department, we deal with human bodies, we deal with human life, so we deal with blood, we deal with surgeries, we deal with a lot of these things. Okay, so if that is your weakness, where you don't like blood, you don't like all these, okay, so that will be, that will not be a career choice for you. Okay, now for example, if you don't like music, okay, there are certain, there are some people who actually don't like to listen to music, and you may be surprised, but there are a lot of them, and I know quite a few of them also who actually don't like to listen to music. They like the quietness, the calmness. Okay, and for such people to join the music and fine arts department is a wrong step. Okay, so that's why you have to understand and know yourself better, so that you will be able to find out which career is best for you. Okay, for your values, for your own interest, what you are interested in, and your talent. Okay, talent means the skills that you have within you. Okay, usually what happens is all of us have our own inborn skills. Okay, so if you can tap to those skills and you know what those skills are, actually they get better with time. Okay, they get better with time. All right, and also deciding on what career you want to do or which career you want to pick up, you also have to think about your personality. Okay, your own personality, your own behavior. Okay, next slide please, Mamelo. All right, so thank you. Now we go to the next topic, that is on multiple intelligence. Right, we will go on with the next one, which is on multiple intelligence. I think all of you have filled the multiple intelligence inventory, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we will talk a little bit about what you have filled, so that you will understand why you have filled that. Okay. So next we will come to multiple intelligence. All right. Abraham Lincoln said this: "If there is anything that a man can do well, I say let him do it. Give him a chance." Okay, this is what Abraham Lincoln said. So if there is anything that you can do it. Okay, next slide, please. Gardner's multiple intelligence. Okay, the ones which you have done. All right, it is an intelligence. Okay, and intelligence is the ability to solve problems or to create products that are valued within one or more cultural settings. Okay, when we talk about intelligence, means your ability to solve a problem, or your ability to create new things or new product or new thoughts, new trends. Okay, that is called as intelligence. And these things that you have done, they are valued, or they are considered as valuable within one or more cultural settings. Okay, next slide please. All right, so Gardner's multiple intelligence, there are 8 of them. Okay, the first one is linguistic, then logical mathematical, visual spatial, bodily kinesthetic, musical, interpersonal, intrapersonal, existential, naturalistic. Okay, so the first one, we will go to the first intelligence, that is called as linguistic intelligence. Right? Okay, linguistic intelligence means the ability to use languages to communicate effectively. Okay, which means that you can pick up or you can speak more than 2-3 languages. Right? So let's say maybe you know English. English, of course, all of us will know. Then your mother tongue, whether it's Khasi or Hindi or any other mother tongue that is there, and provide other than these two, you learn other languages which are nothing related to you. Okay, so that is called, and you love to learn languages. You love to learn new languages. Okay, then these people also, they can manipulate words and expression. Okay, they can easily manipulate words and expression. Right? For such people having this type of intelligence, okay, they can be teachers, They can be journalists, they can be lawyer, preacher, or writer. And if I may add one more thing to this, a politician. Okay, so these people are this group of people that have this linguistic intelligence. They can actually manipulate words, and they express their words in such a way that it makes the other person understands them better. What they want to convey, you get it, you understand it. Okay, next please. Logical mathematical intelligence. Okay, they uses reasoning skills and applies logic to solve a problem. Okay, I think you may know people like this, or you may have friends who are like this. Okay, so for any problems that is there, they actually use their reasoning skills. Why is it like that? Why it has to be like that? So if we would have done it in this way, we would have got it all the way from here, then this problem would not arise. Okay, so logical mathematical intelligence. Okay, they enjoy calculations and planning. Okay, they love to plan, they love to calculate. Okay, so how much is this? All right, so let's go from, if we do this and this, so let's see, if you're planning this will be the cost. Okay, so they love all of that. Okay, and people having this particular intelligence can be banker, they can be businessman, they can be a scientist, or they even can be a carpenter. Because when it comes to carpentry also, there are a lot of measurements and a lot of mathematical things that are involved in carpentry. Right, next please. Interpersonal intelligence. Okay, interpersonal intelligence is when a person is able to understand and interact with others. That means they are very good with putting themselves in the other person's shoes. Okay, so there are some people whom you are very, very comfortable to talk to. Okay, you're very comfortable to talk to. You can actually easily open up to them. Right, so those people have interpersonal intelligence. Okay, they enjoy tools which include the telephone, the conference, or meetings. Okay, next. Basically, they like to talk. All right. Okay, so people having interpersonal intelligence can be civil servant, a counselor, a teacher, a manager, or a spiritual leader. Okay, they love to, just to say, they love a crowd. Okay, they love to converse, they love to talk, they love to interact. Okay, people with interpersonal intelligence. Next, please. Visual-Spatial Intelligence. Okay, visualizes and transform observation into a concrete realities. Okay, so for example, there is nothing in that particular room or in that particular area, but there are people who can actually stand there and say, okay, I'm going to keep this there, I'm going to put this there, this will be there, and this will be there. And when they actually put it in place, it looks beautiful. Okay, so they can actually visualize things in their own mind and head, and when they put it into reality, they try to put what is there in their head into reality. Okay, next please. Okay, so they can manipulate space at a 2 or a 3-dimensional level. So for some of us who don't, I won't say who don't have this intelligence, for some of us whom this intelligence is quite low, what happens is, when we look at things, we just see them in a 2D or a 3D picture. But for these people, in their mind, they see something. Okay, they can look at it in a different perspective, and when they put that what is in their mind into reality, you see a beautiful things. Okay, so people with visual or spatial intelligence can be product designer, architect, or a film director. Okay, the next intelligence, please. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Okay, for people who has more of this bodily kinesthetic intelligence, uses motions and expressions of the body. Okay, basically physically. Okay, so uses skills of working with tools, machines, and equipment. Okay? They like to keep their hands busy. Okay, such people with this particular intelligence can be physical trainer, they can be sports professional, or armed forces. Okay, they like to be able to have physical, the whole body. Okay, bodily kinesthetic movement of the body all the time. Right. Next intelligence, please. Musical intelligence. Right. Sensitivity to rhythm and sound, love music, and also sensitive to sounds in their environments. Okay, Now, I do not know how many of you have seen this, okay, but there are actually people around us who can make sounds with empty classes, or just sit in a room, and when it rains, and then they record the droplets of the rain, maybe from the roof, okay, where the water drops. Of course, if it falls at different surfaces, it makes different sounds, okay, and actually they are able to record those and make them into music, okay. So they are sensitive to any sound, okay. They enjoy musical instruments, music, radio, stereo, or multimedia. People with musicians can be composers, lyricists, okay, musical performer, or a film director. Right? Next intelligence, please. Existential intelligence, okay, the ability to think beyond here and now, okay. So some people may think, okay, now I'm here, what is there in space, or what is in between, the different layers of the earth, what is present there, okay. So they enjoy traveling, reading philosophy related materials, okay. Such people having more of existential intelligence can be researcher, okay. They can be astrologer, they can be physicist, pastor, an evangelist, or missionary, or even a teacher. Okay? Intrapersonal intelligence, okay? The ability to understand one's own interests or goals. Okay? There are many of us actually who have this intrapersonal intelligence more. Okay, the reason why is because for people having this particular intelligence more in them, they know themselves better than anyone else. Okay, they understand themselves better than anyone else. They are a very close person. Okay, so they like tools which include books. They love to read creative materials. They love to write in diaries. Okay, they love to have their own privacy time. In their own time, they love to have the privacy. Okay, the privacy, they cherish it the most. Okay, people with with more of intrapersonal intelligence, okay, this carries to all careers actually. Okay, because like I said, you need to know yourself more to be able to choose which career you should pick up. Okay, so it relates to all career. It can be a primary teacher, primary school teacher, an event planner, an author, or a composer. Okay, mostly authors and composers, they like being alone to understand themselves more, so that they can jot down what is there in their head, they can write it down, okay, or they can compose it into music, right? Naturalistic intelligence, okay, strong interest and concern towards nature, animals, ecology, etc. People having this intelligence, which has more of this intelligence, they enjoy working with gardens, they enjoy to recycle things, etc. Okay, then people having more of this naturalistic intelligence end up to be environmental engineer, marine biologist, okay, or a farmer, museologist. Clear? Okay. Next slide, please. All right. Now, most of us, we have this standardized test, okay, whereby all of us try to fit in through one, window. But the truth is, all of us, every human on this earth, okay, all of us have got the 9 intelligence in us. Okay, we all have all the intelligences in us. It's just the difference is that some of us have one or more intelligence more than the other. Okay, so that's why all of us are different, where we are good at one thing, okay, whereas the other person within the family itself, let's say maybe you are good at one thing and your sister or your brother is good in another thing, okay, that is because of the multiple intelligence that we have. All right, but all of us are intelligent, all of us have all the intelligence. It's just that one of us have one intelligence more than the other. That's why we have doctors, that's why we have environmentalists, that's why we have musicians, okay, that's why we have counselors. Why? Because those people picking up those career have intelligence more in those career, which is fit for those career, right? So when we assess a person, we cannot assess them based only, if you look at that picture, you have 4 shapes there, right? You have 4 shapes there, But then you cannot fit everyone through one shape because we all have our own different intelligence. You know, one may one may fit in one shape, one may fit in the other shape. All right. Okay. Next slide, please. So everyone has a potential to succeed. This is being said by Bandura in the year 2002. All of us have potential to succeed. The only thing is we need to understand ourselves better. We need to know ourselves better. Find out what our intelligence are. Okay, so if you have done the multiple intelligence inventory, you will realize that those intelligences, some of them you scored very high, some of them you scored medium, and some of them you may score very low. It does not mean anything. It just means that your intelligence is more in the ones you have scored more and least in the ones you have scored less. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? And then that is how all of us are. All right? So multiple intelligence means we all have all these intelligences, but some of us are, good at one, whereas the other is good at the other. All right? Next slide, please. Now you all have done the multiple intelligence inventory, right? All of you have done it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So do you have any questions with multiple intelligence with the session? Is there anything you want to add? Yes?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions? No questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Ma'am. Yes.
No, ma'am.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll hand it over to Sir Julian. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Appreciate it, ma'am.
Thank you, 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 ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Julian, are you there?
Yes. Hi. Thank you, Ms. Lurky, for taking us through that session on self-understanding and on multiple intelligence. I'm sure that the students who have listened to that first session are able to relate, especially with the inventories that you have completed. While doing these inventories, you must have seen your response. And while listening to the session today, I'm sure that you're able to relate the purpose of that inventory. In fact, it is very important to help you establish your, your career profile and to help you in your career planning and your career aspirations. So we have a next session by Ms. Pibawan Imle on how do careers develop. She will be giving us a bit of theoretical background on a few theories about career. So I will hand over this time to Ms. Pibawan. I want to wish you all the best for this session as well. Over to you, Miss.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning. Morning, miss.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning. Morning.
Morning, ma'am.
How are you all doing?
Morning, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Doing great. Morning, ma'am.
All
Good
right.
morning, ma'am.
All right. Okay.
Ma'am, we are looking gorgeous today.
Sorry?
You are looking gorgeous.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Anyways,
Welcome, ma'am.
my name is,
You're welcome, ma'am.
my name is Ma'am Khiba. And my session with you today is on how do careers develop, right? So I was listening to the first session that Ma'am Liwaka was taking, and she spoke a lot about, right, the introduction of career and why do we need, why are we having this particular workshop with you, right? So for my session, we will be talking a little bit about the theoretical aspect, okay, of career. And as you already know, career is an important aspect. I mean, it's an important part of our lives to try to understand which career path are we taking, right? Do we actually like what we do, you know? And what is going to, how is it going to benefit us, right? So, yes, please check the message, okay? Just check the messages. Those of you who have not filled the Google form for today's attendance, kindly fill in the form, all right? Attendance is really, really important. Okay, so without further ado, because we're going to talk about how to career develop, right? To understand what made you choose whatever course that you chose to do today. Why is it that some of you chose AHS? Why is it that some of you chose, you know, social work? Why is it that some of you chose theology? Why is it that some of you chose DETE, music, right? What made us choose whatever course that we decided to take today? What made you choose that? So let's look at some of the theoretical aspect of it, okay? And before we do that, all right, let me just share the screen with you so that we can look at some of the objectives of my session with you. Can you all see the screen?
No,
Yes?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
You can't see it.
You can see, ma'am. Now.
You can see it now. Okay. So the objectives of our session is to explore the various theories that is related to career development. Okay, so we'll be talking about 3 theories specifically. All right. The second is to determine one stage of career development, right? So as we talk about the theories of career development, I'm sure that, you know, at one point of time or another, you will be able to relate, right? You'll be like, oh, okay, so this is where I'm at right now. So this is what happened. This is the reason why I decided to choose this particular course, right? So the third is to critically analyze the relevance of the theories in the context of, you know, of the MLCU students for you. Right? Why exactly are we studying about theories, right? Some of us might feel like our theory is so boring, right? You know, but to understand the theory, okay, will help us in also applying the theory, okay, to practice it, right? And the fourth one is to identify the career preparation status of the MLCU students, okay? Now, the next, okay, just a little bit of interaction before we start, yeah? So when you were younger, right, somebody would have definitely asked you, this question is very, very common that, you know, most adults, most parents ask their kids, right? So according to you, you can either type it down or you can unmute, right? So what did you want to be when you were growing up? When people asked you, what do you want to be? Let's say when you were 5 or when you were 6, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Maybe.
Sorry? Yes, David?
A singer.
A singer, right? Yeah, we have responses here as well. Doctor, to be a Navy, doctor.
Astronaut.
Astronaut. See? Yeah, amazing. Air hostess,
Politician.
teacher, dancing,
Yeah.
engineers, priest, doctor, engineers. I wanted to be an army to serve the country, to be a nurse, singer. Oh, see, a bank manager, cosmologist. Ooh, nice. Okay. Ooh, okay. A lot of responses now. I have to scroll up. Okay.
I will be a good person, ma'am.
Oh, you're a good person. Absolutely.
I will be a celebrities, ma'am.
Sorry?
Celebrities.
To be a celebrity. I know. I also wanted to be a celebrity. Dancing, priest, teachers, doctor, engineers, doctor. No. Okay, all right. Oh, someone said nothing as well. Okay. Army, pilot, nurse, nurse, jet pilot, dancing, lawyer, singer, driver, teacher, dancer. Ooh, we have a lot of dancers here, I see, no? Football player, right? A film hero. Yeah. So we had a lot of things when we were growing up, right? Whenever somebody asked us, we knew what we wanted to be. We wanted to be this, we wanted to be that. And that is either influenced because we see these things around us, or because it's based on our interest, or that probably we see another adult in our family, right, who seems to be very, very successful in a particular field. Okay, so we'll talk about each and every one of those aspects. Okay, yes, please to mute your microphone unless I ask you a question, right? Please. Joyceful. Yeah, thank you. All right. Okay, right. So when you were growing up, right, were the things that you wanted to be, right? Everything that you've mentioned, right? Are those dreams still the same now? You can either type
No,
yes or
ma'am.
type
No, ma'am.
okay.
No,
For the
ma'am.
ones who say no,
No, ma'am.
what changed? For the ones who said no, what changed? Yeah, what changed?
When I was a kid, I just want to be a doctor, but now
Ma'am, we
I have
tend
to
to lose
shift now.
interest.
You're laughing. Okay, all right.
Ma'am, we tend to lose interest.
No, no.
We tend to?
Ma'am, we tend to lose interest.
We tend to lose interest. Okay, what made you lose the interest? Yes. Richamo, I think you were saying something.
Laziness, ma'am.
Laziness. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
No?
ma'am, that's the big problem of us.
The big problem. Okay, all right, okay. Well, laziness is...
Like, laziness is like we were like those that were before.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
For me, it's like
Somebody
that.
said that.
For me, it's like that, but I don't know what this guy is now.
Of course. Yes, yes, yes. But thank you so much for your honesty and for sharing anyway. Yeah. Dinormi said God had different plans, right? Amandame said economic hardship, improper institution within the state, right? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So the same thing with me, right? When I was younger, right? When I was, you know, about 5 or 6, when people asked me, what did you want to be when you grow up? I would say that, oh, I wanted to be a doctor, right? Not really because I knew what being a doctor meant, right? But it's because of the fact that doctors seem to play such an important role, right? Yeah, we know that they help people, right? I didn't really know what doctors did, right? But it's just that, oh, okay, it's the only thing that I knew, right? To either be an engineer, to either be a doctor. I felt like, oh, being a doctor is nicer, maybe, right? And then after that, again, when people started asking me again, what did you want to be? I realized that, oh no, now I wanted to be, you know, a fashion designer. I said, okay, fine, right? Yeah. So my wants now, right? When I look at myself now, I'm a counseling psychologist. It's none of whatever I wanted to be when I was growing up, right? Yeah. So the reason why these changes happened, okay, we're going to look at it from the theories that we are going to look at next. Okay. Yeah. So just please do spare your patience with me. Okay. It's 3 theories. It's not much. I'm going to try and make it as brief as I can. Okay, so the first theory that we're going to look at is called the career development theory by Donald Super. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
The first theory, career development theory by Donald Super. Okay. Now, according to, Mr. Super, right? Yeah. So Donald Super believed that, okay, when a person starts developing that career path, okay, when a person starts understanding and realizing what exactly do they want to choose as the career, okay, it's mostly based on their self-concept. Okay. Have you heard of the word self-concept?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay. For some of you who do know what self-concept is,
Yes,
can you tell me
ma'am.
what you understand by self-concept? Yeah? Oh,
How we perceive our behavior.
how we perceive ourselves?
Excuse me,
Yeah?
ma'am.
Yes?
I can hear your voice properly.
You cannot hear my voice. You cannot hear my voice properly. What about the rest? Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
It must be your network
Yes,
from your
ma'am.
end. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Must be your network from your end. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So can someone tell me? Okay, somebody said that self-concept is how we perceive ourselves. Okay. Anybody else would like to add more or share what you understand by it? There's no right and wrong answers. Okay. I just want to know your thoughts.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
You need to give me more than yes. Okay. You need to give me more than yes.
How we
What is
perceive our
self-concept? Okay. Okay. How we perceive ourselves. All right. So Donald Super laid a lot of emphasis on the importance of self-concept, which is like what you said. Okay. Self-concept is how do we perceive ourselves? Right? How do we perceive our own behavior? How do we perceive our own abilities? Right? What do we make of our own characteristics as a person, our abilities, right? Whether it's your skills, whether it's your personality traits, all of that is self-concept. How do we perceive ourselves? Right? And Donald Super laid a lot of emphasis on this because he believed that self-concept, okay, plays a major role in our career development. Okay. And when it comes to self-concept, right, how we perceive ourselves, right, that is lifelong, right? It doesn't mean that only when you're 30 and then you realize that, oh, this is how I see myself. It doesn't work that way, right? Like when I asked you, what did you want to be when you grow up? Some of you said doctor, nurses, astronaut, pilot, right? Air hostess, cosmologist, right? All of these different things, because that was what you saw yourself to at the time, and that was how you saw yourself. So that is your self-concept at the time, right? But according to Super, okay, he also believes that self-concept changes over time. It's not stagnant. It doesn't just stay like that. It doesn't mean that how I see myself now is going to be the same way that I'm going to see myself 30 or 40 years from now. Right? So he laid a lot of emphasis, he emphasized a lot on the importance of self-concept. Okay? And based on self-concept is where we go to some of the stages of of his theory on career development theory. Okay? Are we okay so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we go to the stages, okay, to understand the stages. Okay? This is really, really interesting because I'm sure that you can relate to this somehow, because I could relate to it as well. Okay. Now the first stage is what we call as the growth stage. Okay. Now this would be between the ages of 0 to 40. Okay. Now during this stage, okay, so you would basically be a child, right? There's a lot of changes that is happening. You're going to school, right? You would have you are going to go into high school and all of that, right? So this is the time where you're not really working, and at the same time, like all of you said, when I asked you what you wanted to be when you grew up, and I asked you if what you wanted to be then is still the same what you wanted to do now, some of you said yes, but a majority of you said no, right? So at the time, right, our thoughts about career are mostly fantasy based. The same way where I felt like, oh, I wanted to be a celebrity, I wanted to be a fashion designer, I wanted, right? They're fantasy based, they're not practical. right? This is because of the fact that we see things around, we get influenced a lot by the environmental factors, right? So it's also based on our likes and dislikes, right? We watch a lot of TV and we say that, oh, being an actress, being a singer is so nice. I also want to be like that. Right? Or if you're somebody who is very, somebody said cosmologist, right? And some of you said doctors, you see a lot of doctors helping a lot of people and they just look so cool, right? Yeah. And then you're also thinking, oh, they must earn a lot of money. I also want to do like that as well, right? So they are mostly based on your likes and dislikes at the time as well. And that is how you form your thoughts about what you want to be when you grow up, or trying to decide your career choice at the time. Okay, so they are also influenced a lot by your personal abilities as well, right? Some of you said singer, probably because you love singing, and some of you said dancing because you love that, right? You love to sing, you love to dance, you love to cook, right? And you love to play football, you know, you like playing games. So accordingly, your career development at the time are also based on your own personal interest and abilities as well, right? Yeah, some of them might still stay the same. You still choose to be a doctor even when you grow up, but then at the same time, we cannot also deny the fact that societal and, you know, societal influences, right? Pressure of what is desirable, of what career path is desirable or not is also a factor. Right? And some of you also said laziness, right? Probably because you didn't have a good foundation in school. Like for me, even up until this day, if you ask me to calculate something, or if you talk about numbers, I still get very nervous because I didn't have a good foundation in maths. I hated maths when I was in school. I always failed in maths. I will only pass in the final exams. I would get just 40 on the dot. It was only one time where I got 60 plus and I felt like, this was an achievement for me. You know, because I got 60 something, right? Yeah, for me, that was a great achievement because it was always so difficult for me to be able to do maths. I never understood maths. I never understood science. They were just not my subjects. And accordingly, when people asked me what I wanted to be, I said I wanted to be a doctor. But then, you know, this person who wanted to be a doctor is not great at maths, not great at science. So then I also started thinking, how can I do something like that, right? How can I opt for something when I'm very weak in these particular fields, right? But then I realized that, oh, being a doctor was just my fantasy, and because it was what I saw around me. Yeah? Are we okay till here so far? Growth stage?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now the next stage is the exploration stage. Okay, from the word itself, this is between the ages of 15 to 24. Yeah, so this is when, let's say, you finished your class 10th or 9th, or you're starting them, right? And 24 is where till the time you finish your bachelor's or master's probably. So exploration stage is where you are exploring, right? You have a lot of options and choices, right? And then you are exploring what you are good at based on what is practical. Okay, and then also based on the social and cultural context. Based on the cultural context, right? If I choose to be a celebrity, would I be a good celebrity here in Geelong, right? Yeah. What about my career choices of being a doctor? Is there scope there, right? Yeah. I want to be a teacher. Where will I teach, right? I want to be an astronaut. Okay, what are my options, right? So this is where you weigh a lot of options. You are exploring different choices that you are interested in. Okay, but the choices that you choose, okay, are very much related to what can be done, right? The facts, right? Let's say for me, I had so many things that I wanted to be when I grew up, okay? At one point of time, I wanted to be a doctor. Then I said that, oh, I want to be a fashion designer. And then I said that, oh, I want to be a singer. I want to be a musician, right? But then, you know, I wanted to pursue music. And then, you know, my family said that if you pursue music, what will you do, right? What are the choices that are available here in Geelong, right? So they said that I don't think that you choosing music as your career, you doing something like that for the rest of your life is actually going to help you, you know, to be financially stable, because at the end of the day, you need to think of stability, right? So there were so many pressures, right? So even though I wanted to do it, but I you know, but at the same time, it's also because of the fact that there was a lot of pressure around me about that not really being a suitable choice for me, right? So I didn't do it, right? But then I see a lot of my other friends who did choose to pursue music and they're doing really, really well, right? So, and then again, some of you said that, you know, it was not God's plan for me as well, right? Some of your responses, right? So maybe that was the same for me as well. Maybe that wasn't really the career path for me that was chosen for me, right? And now I'm a counseling psychologist, I'm a counselor, right? Yeah. So this is the time when you are exploring a lot of different choices. So sometimes it can also be a lot of pressure, right? It's like when you decided to choose your bachelor's, you know, it was a lot of pressure, right? You're not just choosing, oh, okay, I'll choose to do English or I'll choose to do AHS. No, you would have definitely thought about what would be the options for me to be employed after I do this course, right? Yeah. So exploration stage, okay, where you are weighing a lot of options, you're looking at a lot of different choices, what is available, what isn't, what is practical, what is not practical, okay? Yeah. Are we okay till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Great, great. Now, the next stage is the establishment stage. Okay, establishment stage is where you've probably started working, you've completed your master's, you've completed your higher education, and then you get your first job and you start doing your job, right? Okay, so and then you start looking at a lot of different options. Let's say right now when you're in a bachelor's, you would be having a lot of internships, right? So whatever opportunity that you see, okay, that would help you in that particular field, you would choose to do a course. You know, let's say we have a lot of workshops here in MLCU, right? Like this is one, you have the foundations course, you have other different workshops that is going to happen, right? So then you realize that, okay, I need experience so that I can be good at what I'm doing, so that when I'm doing my job, it could help me, right? Yeah. So that is when you start, you're not just thinking about, you would have probably thought, you would have probably settled with a certain career path because you would have already completed your master's, right? So then you continue to get experience so that you can be familiar with that experience, allow that experience to heighten your qualification as well. Okay, and that is when you start understanding what is your greatest ability. You know, what is your strength as a person in this particular career, that career path that I'm in, right? Yeah. So you start settling into a job, you start looking for a job, right? It's not the time where you just, okay, I'm just going to walk around here and there. No, you start finding a job that is stable. You start looking at different options, right? 20 to 44. Right? And that is the time when you are probably, let's say, if you want to get married, you would have gotten married. So you would definitely want a stable job. You would definitely want to be happy with what you're doing as well. Okay, so establishment stage. You start establishing, right? Now the next is the maintenance stage, right? You've understood that, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, right? I've chosen, I've chosen to be a psychologist. I'm sorry, I keep mentioning psychologist. You've chosen that, okay, I want to do music. You've probably established your own music school, right? So now in the maintenance stage, that is between the ages of 45 to 65, is where you start sustaining the career path that you've chosen, right? So you start growing, you start developing yourself, you start getting a lot of experience because you're already in the field, okay? And the last stage is what we call as the decline stage, 65 onwards. This is where, you know, a person would have, you know, you've worked so much for the last 65 years. So you would definitely prepare yourself to be retired. And then you would be thinking, oh, what do I do when I retire now, right? Okay, so your work activity is also not so much anymore. And this is when you start leaving the world of work, okay? Yeah, and all of this is based on self-concept. Please mute, kindly mute. Kindly mute, okay?
Students, please mute your microphone. I'll mute from my side, all right? I'll try to mute from my side.
Sure. All right, thank you, sir. So then this is all based on, like I said, self-concept, right? Self-concept, how you perceive your own abilities. And when you look at each and every one of these stages, how you perceive your own abilities, whether you are capable of doing something or not, your behavior, are you able to do something, right? What you think are your greatest strengths would definitely be applicable to each and every one of these stages. Okay? Yeah? All right. So now, according to Super, he also, strongly felt that, when a person fails to deal with a task at each and every one of these stages, okay, it's going to cause a discrepancy. When we say discrepancy, it's like an imbalance, or it doesn't align, right? Let's say my ability as a person would not align with the job that I have, right? So discrepancy, that there's something very unbalanced about it, okay, right? So he felt that when a person is not able to deal with a task at each and every one of these stages, okay, it's definitely going to cause a discrepancy or an imbalance, okay, between your chronological age, okay, and your career maturity stages. When we say career maturity, means your ability to be to mature in the particular field that you've chosen, okay, right? So he also felt that when there is failure in that area, what happens is that sometimes it could delay the individual's career development, okay. Yeah. So in all Super's 5 stages, the concept of career maturity is used to denote the degree to which a person is able to fulfill the vocational development tasks required at each developmental stage. That is what career maturity is. Your ability to fulfill what you want to do, whatever you've chosen to do, okay, that is required at each of these different stages. Okay. Yeah. Now, are we okay till here so far with the stages?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now let's look at some of the other factors, other considerations with Super's theory. Okay. So other than self-concept, okay, other than how we perceive ourselves, Super also felt that the roles that we play in our lives, okay, would definitely impact each and every one of these changes. And what are these life roles? Life roles could be, your role as a child, right? You would be a brother, you would be a sister, you would be a daughter, right? You would be a son, you would be, let's say, a husband, a wife, right? So you would be a citizen, a worker. All of these different life roles would definitely play an important role in the different stages of the lifespan, right? Whether you're able to flourish and, shine in this particular stage or not, these would definitely have an impact on it as well, right? As some of you have mentioned, right? So the other is the life theater. Life is like a theater, right? And what are these other different theaters? They are our homes, right? The community that we live in, our educational institutions, and the kind of workforce that you choose to go into. Okay, so according to Super, he also believes that the life theaters, right, our environmental and socio-cultural factors also plays a huge role, okay, in our self-concept during all of these different stages. Okay, so let's say sometimes some of you have also mentioned that you were not able to pursue certain things that you wanted to do, okay, because of the fact that, let's say, you didn't get the support that you needed financially, emotionally from your family, probably, right? And then some of you also believe that, it's because of the fact that, please give me 1 second, just give me a minute. So sorry for that. Yeah.
It's okay, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. So the life theaters, right? So some of you said that there was economic hardship. That's why you couldn't pursue what you wanted to do, right? Some of you said that is because you didn't have a great foundation, right? Let's say with maths and science, for me, I went to a school, or maybe it was just my ability that I wasn't really great, or I didn't have a great foundation when it comes to maths and science, right? So hence I was not able to really do well in those subjects, which acted as a roadblock for me to pursue something that, let's say, something that I wanted to be. Okay, yeah. So are we okay with Donald Super's theory?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
theory is called the theory of circumscription and compromise by Linda Gottfredson. Okay, 1981. Okay, this is the next theory. Okay. So what is circumscription? Yeah. So when we say circumscription just basically in very simple words means that the limits that we put on ourselves, again, based on our self-concept, right? Self-concept plays such a major role because it's how we perceive ourselves, right? Now, if I perceive myself as weak, then I'm definitely that thought is definitely going to prevent me from doing certain things. If I say that I don't have physical strength, which means that even if somebody tells me, hey, can you please take this rice cooker to the next room, I'll say that no, because I'm weak, right? Or if somebody tells me, why don't you dance? I say that no, I can't dance, right? So hence, I'm not going to engage in certain activities because that is the limit that I put on myself, right? So circumscription basically means the limits that we put on ourselves, which act as roadblocks or barriers, okay, that and again, it is based on our self-concept. And when we're talking about self-concept, it's very much related to our life experiences, right? The kind of environment that we live in, the kind of system that we're in, all of that influences our self-concept, right? Yeah, so let's say children will build the self-concept and eliminate possibilities in relation to this. Okay, so even in terms of our career, what we think are limitations is definitely going to prevent me from pursuing something. Okay, now let's say, for example, okay, now if I say the word nurse, what comes to your mind? Is that something that a man can pursue? Nurse?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
something that usually a woman goes into, or a man can also do it? Is it more common in women or men?
Woman. Woman.
Right? Okay. Are air hostess, is that something more common among men or women?
Woman.
Women. Right? What if I say dentist?
Woman, ma'am. Both.
Both.
Okay. All right. What if I say an engineer?
Both. Both, ma'am.
Actually, woman.
Only women. Okay. All right.
Man.
Okay. What if I say homemaker?
Woman.
Homemaker.
Woman.
Woman. Yeah, definitely. Exactly.
Woman.
Yeah. So if I say a makeup artist?
Transgender. Woman.
Transgender. Woman. Transgender.
Yeah.
Yeah, even
Exactly.
me, I can do make artist too much.
In today's world, both boys and women and men used to do makeup.
Exactly. Right. So why is it that we have these certain concepts towards these particular occupations? Why is it that when I say nurse, you say that it's more common among women? If I say a driver, what about a driver?
Man.
Men.
And these days, both, ma'am.
Yeah. These days, though, yeah, that is a neutral answer, no? Yeah, that is the safest answer that you can give me. Both. Right. No, but why do we have all of these different concepts? Why is it that when I say nurse, you say, oh, it's a woman's job? Why is it that when I say an astronaut, probably I know that you're definitely going to say it's a man, or a pilot, a man, driver, a man, homemaker, woman, yeah, makeup artist, you said woman, and some of you said a transgender, and then you laughed, right? So
because it's based on,
sorry? Yes,
because this kind of like suppose a nurse like it's based only for like a job which is done by women like before, but now like it's opportunity because both men and women can do that, no?
Absolutely. Yes, both men and women can do that, right?
Yeah.
Some of you said that this is in our mind from starting, yeah, okay, because nurses have to take care. So hence what you're implying here is that, again, it goes back to the topic of gender, right? Which you would probably have another workshop on gender and all of that as well. Yeah, if I go into it right now, we will never finish our sessions. Nurses have to take care, and because women are usually seen as the caretakers, hence being a nurse is perfect for a woman, right? Women can take care of others than men, right? Exactly, right? Women are seen as the caretakers, nurturers. It's something that usually women do, right? So hence, this is a woman's job, right? Now, when somebody has to lift something at home, something very heavy, the first person that we think of, I wish there was a male, or we would call the first male that we see to come into the room, right? Yeah, that is because of the fact that we think, okay, men have strength, and hence only they are able to do certain things, right? Plumbing, something, the sink, something happened to the sink, it needs plumbing. We say that, okay, let's call that person, right? Or sometimes when we see a man and then there's something that we think that only a man can do, we ask them to do it. Right? Rarely do we go to a woman, right? Yeah. So all of these different things, these are circumcision. This is what is called as circumscription. Okay, right? So this is again based on self-concepts, and like I said, self-concept is influenced by cultural factors, the social factors, our norms, our values, our belief systems, right? Yeah. So for instance, here, why are we talking about all of that? Why is it that I asked you the question, when I say nurse, when I say doctors, what comes to your mind, a male or a female, right? It's because of the fact that, when it comes to us choosing a career path that we choose to go into, okay, all of these different concepts that we have, nurses, okay, so that means that somebody has to take care, a caretaker. Who can take care? Oh, a woman, right? So which means that this forms the self-concept of what is appropriate as my career and what is not. Okay, right? So let's say for a person, let's say for a male child who do enjoys makeup, right? Let's say they wanted to do makeup, but because of the fact that all of us is something that only a girl can do. So even if he wanted to do it, he would not. Why? Because if I do it, that is too feminine of a job. If I become a nurse, it's too feminine. It's a feminine job that I shouldn't be doing, because why? I'm a male. Please mute yourselves. Okay. So, and then let's say makeup. Okay. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because some of you had laughed. Okay. You said that only a transgender, and then you laughed. Right? So let's say for a boy who, let's say, even if they are transgenders and they choose to do makeup, what is wrong with that? What is wrong with being a transgender? Right? They're still humans at the end of the day. Right? Yeah. So you say that, okay, a makeup artist is something that only a female can do. Now, even if a boy wanted to do it, they would not choose to do it. Because why? Because then again, we have certain labels on what certain people should do, no? If somebody says that, oh, you're a male and you're a nurse, oh, okay, it's a feminine job, it's a woman's job, or oh, you're doing a man's job, right? Things like that. Okay, so because of all of these different concepts that society has around us, and we've ingrained this from the very, very time that children are young, no? Have you seen how when babies are, when there's a baby, and then let's say that baby tends to enjoy working with tools, and we say that, oh my goodness, this child of mine is definitely going to become an engineer, right? Or when someone likes to draw, oh, this person is definitely going to be a painter, right? So even though we say that, no, it's up to you to choose whatever you want to do, but we cannot deny the fact that there's still pressure from the environment around us. You know, that parent who wants their child to become a doctor so bad will start from the very time that that child is young, okay, to ingrain that, no, you need to be a doctor, you need to be a doctor. It might not be on the face saying that you need to be a doctor, but it'll be in other indirect ways. Okay, so circumscription is the limit, right? So let's say for me, I think that, you know, if I'm a male and I feel like, you know, being a nurse is a woman's job, then I'm definitely not going to go into, because I'm worried that, okay, because I see it as a woman's job, so that is not something appropriate for me to do, right? So this is also the time when children are also, they see it that way as well. What is suitable for them? What is not suitable? Okay, and it will definitely influence their self-concept. Okay, are we okay with circumscription?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now next is compromise. Okay, I'm sure you've heard of the word compromise. Okay, so when we say compromise means that we select those career choices which are available to us. Right, not ideal, right? When I asked you, some of you said, I want to be a celebrity, I want to be this, I want to be that, right? So even though those might be your dreams, but then as you start growing up, as you start going through the different stages of career development, you start understanding what is practical and what is not, where you start looking at options. If I choose, like I said before, if I choose to pursue in the field of environment, right? If I choose environment as my course, what are the things that I can do so that I have a job? Right? Even though, let's say for me, I wanted to be, let's say, a fashion designer very, very badly, but I feel like, fashion designing, there's not really much scope here. Right? So then I would look at other options that are available, which are practical for me. That is what compromise is. So we compromise our ideal choices, okay, with something that is more practical and available, okay, in our cultural context. Okay, is it okay with compromise?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll not blabber anymore like a grandmother, okay? Because I'm sure all of you have understood what is compromise. Yeah. So all children move through the stages of circumscription this way. Okay. Self-concept. Sometimes children are aware that they have these self-concepts. Most of them are not aware. Okay, they are only aware later in the later part of their lives. So some move faster or slower depending on their cognitive ability. Okay, what might be a particular, let's say, if I'm moving in this particular direction, it doesn't mean that the other person is also going to move through the same way. Okay, because all of us are different. At the end of the day, we have our own development stages. So even though, let's say, I might be walking a bit slow, but it doesn't mean that I'm lacking behind. It's just that that is my developmental stage. Okay, right? So when we're talking about circumscription, again, we're going to talk about these 4 different stages. Okay, now here, right? Now, the first one is the orientation to size and power. This is between the ages of 3 to 5. Okay, so this is where these children have started becoming aware, right, of the differences between apple and mango, the differences between male and female, the differences between strong and weak, right? Yeah, so that is when they start identifying their roles as well, because they are able to identify, because they are able to aware. They are aware of the differences, right? Which means that they also become aware of who they are as a person, their self-concept. They've started at least, right? And that is when they start identifying the roles and occupations that other adults might have as well. Okay. Right now, let's say if I belong to a family where everybody are doctors, then I would say that, okay, I'll also choose to be a doctor, because why everybody else are doctors, right? If I see everybody as lawyers or teachers, then I would, you know, my mind would also be, I also want to become a teacher, right? At this age, at least, right? Yeah. So this happens all the time. You know, let's say I have relatives where, let's say, the mother is a doctor, and then when the child is young, when you ask them, what do you want to be? They say, I also want to be a doctor like my mother, right? Yeah, so this is what we call as the stage 1, which is orientation to size and power. You are aware of the differences. You identify yourself with another adult. Okay, which is the same way what this child is identifying themselves to their mother. Or sometimes, let's say, because we see that this job is so difficult. Okay, so which means that you will say that I will never go into this field, because why? It's so difficult. I see how the other person is struggling, hence I don't want to get into it. Yeah. Okay. Are we okay with stage 1?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes. Stage 2 is orientation, sex roles. Okay. When I say sex roles, I'm talking about male, female, transgender, intersex. Okay. All right. So when we say sex roles, it means the gender. Okay, so this is the time when this is between the ages of 6 to 8. Okay, where children start understanding the distinctions between occupations that some adults might have. Okay, they might be able to relate to it in some way. Okay. Yeah, some of them is where they start identifying themselves with a particular gender, with a particular, and let's say, let's just talk about the examples of when I asked you, whether this is more common in males or females, right? Let's say for nurses, you say that, okay, it's a woman's job. So hence you start identifying yourself as, okay, there are certain things that I can do. What can I do? Because I'm a female, what can I do? Right, so they start classifying their job roles, okay, along with the gender that identify with. Okay, so let's say if I'm a female, then I would think about the different career options that is suitable for me as a female. Okay, again, which is what is circumscription, which are the two main concepts of all of these different stages. Okay, so in all of these different stages, you will see either circumscription or compromise. Okay, which is why we talked about circumscription and compromise initially when we started talking about this theory. Okay, so the orientation to sex roles is to start identifying to a particular occupation that is similar to the gender that you identify with. Yeah, are we okay with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now the next is orientation to social values. This is between the ages of 9 to 13. Okay, this is the time when children start identifying occupations that is similar or that is aligned to the values in our social environment, our social status, our gender attributes, right? Now, for example, okay, there was a study that was done where males, okay, I forgot the name of the place where the study was done, but when it comes to pressure in terms of their career, okay, children are being pressured into taking jobs that have honor, right? That has dignity. And what are these jobs? Being a doctor, being an engineer, right? When you look at the statistics, right, there have been a lot of teenagers, and I'm sure you've heard this as well, teenagers and students who have died because of suicide, or they have, tried to harm themselves because of the fact that there's so much pressure. Yeah. Have you seen the movie 3 Idiots?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yeah. Sorry? Yeah. So
All
I'm
is
sure
well,
you've
ma'am.
Yes, all is well. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the 3 friends, right? He died because of suicide, right? Oh, sorry, not one of the 3 friends, another classmate of theirs died because of suicide, right? Killed himself. Why? Because there's so much pressure into being an engineer. Why? Reasons could be plenty, right? One is because of the fact that a lot of parents want their children to have these jobs that are very well defined, that have so much dignity, because they see that being a doctor and engineer are the only jobs that are valuable, right? The others, not so much, right? So hence they pressure their children into pursuing these career paths as well, right? Don't know whether the child is able to do it or not. Don't know whether the child is interested in it or not, but you have to do it anyway, right? Because why? At the end of that, when you're getting married, parents will also look at that, at the families. Oh, okay, that person is having a great job, so okay, it's easier to get married, right? Yeah, so this is the time where the orientation to social values, where you would look at some of the values that are valued in the system that you're in, whether that system is your family, is your educational institution, whether it's the community that you belong to. Okay, so you relate your social status to these surroundings. Okay, and you also come up with an occupation that you think is suitable for you as well. Yeah, okay. Are we all right with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Your smile is so beautiful, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And the last
Welcome,
stage is
ma'am.
orientation to internal and unique self. Okay. So this is the ages of 14 plus. Okay. So this is the time when young people start engaging in conscious circumscription, it says. Okay. So this is where they, understanding their abilities and limitations, they also start engaging in certain interests and abilities. Okay. To understand what the kind of role that they play in the social environment that they're in. Okay, right? So if they feel like, oh, there are certain things that I'm not really good at, they're not going to get into it, right? Or if they say that, this is something that is not of my interest, they're not going to get into it, right? Yeah, so hence they start orienting themselves or introducing themselves to who they are as a person, because they know the limitations, they know they have that self-concept. Okay, they are able to understand who they are as the person. They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, they know certain things. So if they feel that these are my strengths, they will definitely engage in that. And if they feel that, okay, something is a weakness, then either they would use that as a roadblock, or what they would do is that they would say that, okay, maybe I need to develop my skills in this particular field because I know that I'm weak in this field. So what can I do to make it better so that it doesn't become a barrier anymore? Right? So this is where they start engaging in self-reflection, trying to get in touch with who they are as a person, right? And enhancing their skills from there. Okay? Are we okay, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I feel tired. 2 theories. Okay, I hope not. We have just one more theory left. Okay. Yeah. Ready for another one? Do you have any questions so far? Anything that you would like to clear up before we move on?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right then. So,
Okay, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, one doubt. You said that circumscription and compromising gets over as the person gets older, right?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
You said that circumscription and compromising gets over as the person gets older.
Gets over.
Yeah, as the person grows older, like intellectually. But don't you think that the beliefs could also be still there, like the career beliefs could also be still there? That is affecting the, the decision making of the person at present.
Yeah, definitely. See, when we're talking about circumscription, again, all of this is mostly based on self-concept, right? And when we're talking about self-concept doesn't stay stagnant. Yeah, how I think about myself 10 years ago is not how I think about myself right now. And it's definitely, and maybe how I think about myself right now, it will have its changes and enhancement probably in the next 10 years of my life. Right? So it doesn't mean that it stays stagnant, that this is how I see myself, this is what I think are my abilities, and hence it's going to stay this way forever. Right? Because like you said, which is very, very right, your beliefs and your values and what you think about yourself is going to keep changing as you go on. right? If I ask you what were your top 5 values when you were 10 years old, they will definitely not be the same as what your values are right now, right? Probably it'll be what you believed when you were 10. Some of those beliefs you might not believe them anymore, or you might still do, but you also have your own self-concept about your thoughts on it. It's not that, okay, this is how I've been taught that this is white and this is black and white, so I will choose to see it as black and white for the rest of my life. No, because your experiences, right? And again, your self-concept changes. It's a lifelong process. It doesn't stay the same. It's not stagnant. It's not static. It's not, it keeps changing. Yeah. And why? What influences those? Your experiences, your abilities, your experiences in terms of interpersonal relationships, your experiences in terms of your workforce, your competencies as a person, your qualifications, right? Your exposure to different set of people, to different environments that you're in. So it's not going to stay the same, right? But we're talking about circumscription and compromise, because based on the stages that a person starts developing their career. Yeah, so that is something that they go through, but it doesn't mean that, okay, it stays like this, but it could change as well. Yeah, does that make sense, Shamsi?
I see, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So let me just give you another example. Okay, this was an example that I gave last time as well. I mean, to the other group. Okay, so so when I was doing my master's, okay, in counseling psychology, I was the youngest in class, and my classmates were from the age range of, back then, so let's say 20 to 60 years old. Okay, some of them had really great jobs, well-paid jobs. Okay, they earned more than 1 lakh a month, all of that, right? Lived comfortable lives, financially great. Okay, and then when I asked some of them, and I saw them as like really brave people, right? Because I don't know if I would ever be able to change my career path, right? Imagine at 60, you're deciding to do your master's again, right? Or at 35 or 40 or 55, you're deciding to do your master's again because you want to pursue something absolutely different from what you were doing, right? A software engineer, okay, chose to shift to counseling psychology, chose to be a counselor, right? Yeah, had everything. But what they say is that, when I asked them what made you choose to change your career, they said that it's just that I wasn't happy with what I was doing. I was not content, right? I felt that this was the only thing that I could do, and I limited myself from doing other things that I probably was capable of doing, right? Yeah. So their self-concept of what they did, let's say when they were 20, changed, right? And now, then, right, at 45, at 60 years old, they decided to pursue something absolutely different from what they were doing their whole lives, right? So that is what I'm talking about in terms of how do our careers develop. It changes over time. Yeah, it changes based on our experiences. Some of them decided to pursue counseling psychology because they had gone through something very difficult in their lives and they wanted to understand. Right? So now the perception that, okay, they're good at what they're doing, right? They are amazing engineers, but at the same time, they also felt like, maybe I want to do something different, right? Because my self-concept has changed, right? How I perceive my abilities. Maybe their whole lives, they felt that this was the only thing that they could do, but then they realized that, they could also do something else as well, right? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am. That was meaningful. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. So let's just move on to the next theory now. Okay. The last theory, which is what we call as the social cognitive career theory. Okay, by Albert Bandura. Okay. Now the core components of this particular theory is on the core components of the social cognitive theory is based on these three things. Okay, self-efficacy. Have you heard of self-efficacy before?
No, ma'am.
No?
No, ma'am.
Any one of you familiar with what self-efficacy is? Okay. All right. Okay. So let's look at these core components of the social cognitive theory. Okay. Now, self-efficacy, okay, to define it is, again, is very much related to self-concept, because self-efficacy is our ability, or it's our belief that we are able to complete certain tasks, or it's our belief that our belief in our abilities, basically. And when we have that strong belief system in our abilities, then it also allows us to do certain tasks or to complete certain tasks. Okay, so self-efficacy is basically our own beliefs in our own abilities. Okay, yeah, so remember that definition, okay, because we're going to keep talking about self-efficacy. That fine? Okay, so self-efficacy, okay, according to Albert Bandura in this theory, he believes that self-efficacy expectations are shaped by 4 primary information sources. Okay, so he believes that our belief in our own abilities, okay, is shaped because of our personal performance accomplishments. Okay, so let's say I know that I'm great at, let's say, I'm great at painting. So which means that I would have also, how do I know that I'm great at painting? Because I've had accomplishments in that field, right? Or when somebody says that, oh, you are so good at maths, you're so good at science, you're so good at English. Why? Because let's say it's based on the results that we've had, you know, always scoring 90 out of 100 or 99 out of 100 in certain subjects, right? So that accomplishment shapes the way that how we believe in our abilities, our belief in our abilities. Okay, the other is vicarious learning. When we say vicarious learning, it means that our own personal observations, our interactions with people, what we see is happening with other people, our observations based on our interactions and relationships with people as well. Okay, and the other is social persuasion. Yeah, so our, again, interpersonal relationships, right? The society around us, what they perceive of our abilities. Yeah, and the other is physiological and affective states, which means that our physiological abilities to do something, right? Yeah. Now, let's say if I'm somebody who, you know, like for me, you know, my family calls me a broiler because I get sick all the time, right? At least back then, now not so much anymore, right? So for them, they know that I cannot do something very, very heavy work, because they feel that, you know, I get sick all the time. So hence it prevents me, or they prevent me from doing certain things which might affect my health. Okay, so that is what physiological and affective states. So now, which means that there are certain things that I would not be doing because I was prevented from doing it because of my health when I was growing up, right? I'm much better, right? But then there are certain things that I could not do, or things that I don't know how to do now because of the fact that I was prevented from doing it. Okay, because of my health. Yeah, are we okay with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Now, the other components
Ma'am.
is outcome expectations. When we say outcome expectations here, it refers to beliefs, okay, about the consequences, or the word itself, outcome, what we expect. Okay, so which means that when we're doing something, we don't just do it. No, when somebody tells us to just jump off a cliff, and not even just jump off a cliff, right? Or when somebody say, you know, I need you to go to the staff room, you're not just going to say, okay, ma'am, I'll go to the staff room. You will definitely ask, why do you need me to go to the staff room, right? Yeah. Or let's say if somebody tells you, you know, you have an internship in this particular organization, I want you to go there, right? You're not just going to blindly go into that internship, not understanding how will this internship serve me or benefit me in any way. Okay, right? So outcome expectations is where you ask questions like, what will happen if I do this? They are the beliefs about the consequences or outcomes of doing something. Okay, and a lot of studies have shown that people, okay, are more likely to engage certain activities or doing certain things, okay, where they see where it matches their expectations of what they will receive, whether those expectations are, them feeling like, oh, they've done a great job, or this is a great initiative in doing something, I know that I'm doing this for a good cause, so hence you do something, right? So the social and self-approval, certain rewards that you're looking forward to, it's like when you're doing a job, you're not just going to say that I'll do it for free, right? You expect something from it as well, right? So that is what outcome expectations is. Okay, so your understanding, your expectations of what you're going to receive when you're doing something. Okay with outcome expectations?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now the third one is personal goals. Okay, so when we say personal goals, okay, again, this is our what is our intention to do something. Right? Why is it that you are sitting in this, career workshop right now? Right? Some of you chose to sit here because, attendance is mandatory, so you don't have a choice, right? And it adds to your transcript. Some of you are really, really interested in this particular topic. Some of you are just doing it because you want, there is a particular topic that you are very, very much interested in understanding. Some of you are really, really trying to figure out the career path that you want to go to. Okay, right? All of us have our own intentions in doing something. We all have a goal to do something, right? Whether that goal is internal or external. Okay, why is it that you are pursuing your bachelor's degree right now? Yeah. Why is it that you do certain things? So all of these are personal goals. Okay, our intentions to do something. Okay, what is it that is making me do something? A goal that at the end of it that we are looking for. Okay. Now, when we're talking about personal goals, we will also talk about choice content goals and performance goals as well. Okay, choice content goals, which means that, our own choices of activities that we want to pursue. Okay, right? And performance goals refers to our accomplishment or performance that we aim to achieve. Okay, right? So again, people tend to set certain goals that are very, very much aligned with their belief systems, their values, their level of achievement that they want to achieve. Okay, their own capabilities, their abilities, and the expectations that they expect. Okay, from pursuing something. Okay, right? And that success or failure, okay, in reaching these personal goals that we have for ourselves, okay, sometimes can either help alter, okay, which means that change the way that we think about ourselves in terms of our beliefs and our abilities, which is our self-efficacy. Okay, are we all right with this?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we'll look at some of the models of SCCT. Okay, the first is the interest model. Okay, very, very simply, this interest model means that individuals will do certain things, you will do certain things that you are interested in, or you will develop interest in activities that you feel is going to add to your self-efficacy. Okay, where you feel like this will give me a sense of value, this will give me a sense of accomplishment, this will give me a sense of happiness or peace, whatever it is, right? So individuals are more likely to develop interest in those activities, okay, that they feel that they are interested in, or things that the outcomes that they look forward to from doing it. Okay, is it okay with the interest model?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Now the choice model, on the other hand, I will send the slide later in the Google Classroom, okay? So you can always refer to them, yeah? So the choice model, however, this model is based on how an individual views their development. Okay, so making certain choices, based on your interests, your abilities, your capabilities. Okay, what is available and what is not. We've talked about this before as well, right? What is practical for me to pursue and what isn't? What is going to help me get a job? What is not going to help me get a job, right? Yeah, so that is what the choice model is. You weigh all of these different options, okay? Again, based on your abilities as a person as well, right? Because something might have a lot of scope, but you might not have, let's say, the required skills to do it, right? Let's say you studied management, okay? You cannot be expected to do a counselor's job, right? Because these are two completely different fields, right? So you weigh the options that is available based on your abilities, based on your capabilities, on what is practical, what isn't, and then you choose accordingly as well. Yeah, okay with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So when we're talking about the choice model, again, sometimes there could be certain barriers as well, that even though you want to do something, but then you're prevented from doing something because, let's say, it's not something that might be supported, or they act as barriers because they are against your cultural beliefs, they are against the social barriers, because of the lack of support, right? All of that. Yeah, so again, when we're talking about the choice, that's why we call it the choice. So you weigh all the advantages and disadvantages. If I decide to pursue this, what are the advantages and disadvantages? What are the things that I can do that will help me move forward? What are some of the barriers?
Very
right? So the options. Yeah. And the last one is the performance model. Okay, performance model from the word itself, okay, which means that you perform. Right, it is highlighted on the ability factor, right? It is based on your achievement, your aptitude, your past performance, right? So because you are aware of what you can do and cannot do, okay, then it also means that you will do certain things that is aligned with that as well, okay? And when you accomplished it, right, yeah, when you perform, then again, it also adds on to your self-efficacy and the outcome expectations, okay, right, which will definitely also help you in realizing or acknowledging or influencing your own personal goals as well, okay? So your ability factor, the performance model is basically the ability factor, okay, your achievement, your aptitude, right, your abilities, your capabilities, your strengths, your flaws, right, and using that as feedback to do something where you can have a high sense of achievement. Okay, all right.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Now, the last topic is the career preparation status. Okay, career preparation status is basically how ready are we, how aware are we of our own interest, how aware are we of our own abilities, how aware are we of our own qualifications, competencies as a person, right? Okay, so when we're talking about career preparation status, it means that we take all of these different factors into consideration, right? Is this something that I really, really want to do, right? Is this the career choice that I've decided that I'm going to take, right? So when we're talking about this particular topic as well, and we've talked about this in the theory of compromise and circumscription, right? Where we're talking about gender differences, right? So there seems to be a lot of gender differences in career decisions, okay, in career maturity, and we've talked about this enough, so I will not dwell into it any further, okay? But when we're looking at many other developed countries, okay, it was seen that both high school boys and girls indicated optimistic desire in relation to achieving their career goals, and thereby suggest that career planning needs to begin in this level, right? So career choices should be started from the school level, right? Because that is the time when they have gone through all of those career development stages, right? So it's important that as much as these institutions can allow this to happen, where they are exposed to career career workshop that you're having right now, right? And in Canada, it was seen that female high school students, they have higher levels of career decision making in self-efficacy. Okay, so there are different results in different places, and again, the environmental context also plays a huge role in why is it that in one place it's different and in the other place it's different. Okay, so gender roles, we've spoken about that, right? So here in gender roles, a study that was done by Gianna Kos. Okay, so this person found that female students felt that, you know, they needed to, they wanted to have a career, but at the same time, they also felt that there was a need to balance their family life and their working life as well. Okay, right? And in South Africa and Nigeria, it was found that male students have higher maturity. So these are just statistics, okay, that we're talking about. Okay. So here in India, it was found that male students displayed higher career maturity. When we say career maturity, I hope you still remember the definition, right? Our able to accomplish, or our ability to understand our level in understanding the career choice that we want to take, okay, right? And in Meghalaya, okay, in the East Khasi Hills district, a study was done, okay, by Sangma, okay, and it showed that there was very, very low scores in the career preparation status. Okay, right? And some of the responses during the interview was that, you know, I'm so confused, I don't know what stream to take after class 10, right? Or I will choose a stream depending on my marks. It's up to my parents only. I do not have much idea of courses. So when you're looking at Meghalaya,
Well, I think ma'am got disconnected, so she will be reconnected. Just please bear with us. Okay, so while we wait for ma'am to rejoin again, I would like to request all the students to kindly stay online. We have one more session after this, and I'm sure that whatever sessions that has been you know, taken so far, you have gained a lot of knowledge, and we'll try to summarize you know, the meaning of these 3 sessions after the end of the session today. So in the meantime, I would like to request all of you to stay online. Those of you who have not given your name in the Google form, okay, kindly give your name. Only those who are attending this session can give your name. I can see that there are students who have not attended this session and they have filled the Google form. Their attendance will not be considered at all. Okay, you can't just fill the form and don't attend the session. We have the data of this of students who are attending the sessions and those who are filling the form. We can compare. So only those who have attended sessions and have filled the form, their attendance will be considered. So those of you who are attending this session now and have not filled the form, please fill the Google form for your attendance today.
Okay.
So I'll just give the link for the Google form once again. Okay, ma'am is back online. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
So sorry for that. I didn't realize that my network got cut off.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. I'm not sure. What was the last thing that you heard me say? Because I wasn't aware that I was cut off. Okay, so let me just conclude. Yeah. Okay. So basically, when we're talking about Meghalaya, okay, Meghalaya has the lowest preparation status, right? Our ability to prepare children, right, due to which career path that they want to choose to go to. Okay. I'm guessing that this is something that you probably might be able to relate to as well, right? After 10th, oh, do I choose arts or science or commerce, right? Because these are the options available. Oh, I'm good at maths or science, so I'll go for maths and science. Oh, I'm great at this, so I will choose this and that, right? So in Meghalaya, this needs to be a lot of work done in helping our students in, our children in choosing the career path that is most apt for them. Okay. Yeah. So that is it for my topic. Do you have any questions? Anybody, any doubts, things that you would want to clarify?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
You all clear?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So thank you so much for your time. Okay, I hope I didn't rush. I hope that I was not too fast, because sometimes I tend to go a little faster, but I was just keeping the mind in time. Right. Okay. So Sir Julian?
Yeah, hi, I'm here.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I will
thank
upload
you.
the PPT
Yeah.
later in the Google Classroom, so you can refer to that. And if you have doubts or clarifications anytime, I will put in my email ID here. You can email me anytime, okay, for any doubts or clarifications, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Email ID.
Thank you, ma'am.
So you can always
Thank you,
email
ma'am.
me here for anything that you would like to clarify, okay? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
I hope to
Thank
have
you, ma'am.
productive and nice sessions with the rest of the sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Lovely having you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
It
you,
ma'am.
was
ma'am.
really great, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Shukriya.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Fiba, for taking us through that very comprehensive session, and I'm sure most of you have got a lot of value and information and knowledge on the on the session that was covered just now. Ms. Fiba, she also is the university counselor. She's available at the university for any other counseling help that you might need. She has given her email address there. If you have any questions, any doubt, or if you have any problem that you would like to discuss with, you can always approach her. So thank you so much for taking us through that session. The reason that we had given you, it's just one day now. We still have tomorrow and day after. But I would like you, all of you, to realize that as far as careers are concerned, all of you are still studying now, but very soon you'll have to transition into work. But getting a job is not easy. All of us know that. Unemployment problem is there, and a lot of other problems. Now, it is not it's not just scarcity of jobs that contribute to unemployment. We have had discussion. We see that our culture has influence on our career aspirations, our social factors, impact, the job market, unemployment. So there are several factors that contributes towards unemployment among our youth.
Bhaskar, please mute your mic.
Yeah. Please mute your mic, everyone. Please
Okay,
mute your
sorry,
mic.
sir.
Yeah. Okay. So we have had only 2 sessions, but over these 2 sessions, I'm sure that you have taken some notes. I'm sure that you have learned something. Okay. And what is important is not just for you to attend the session and forget it or something. No, because this is what you can apply in your life in terms of preparing for your career. You are still studying now. The preparation has to start from now, so that at the time when you finish your studies, you'll have a career plan in mind. You'll also have a career path. You will also be equipping yourself with the necessary career development and competencies that you're required to have. So by the time you graduate and finish your studies, you are ready for the workforce, and you'll find employment for yourself more easily. So I will not take much time because we still have another session by Dr. Colleen, and this session is on career belief. Now, in the previous session by Ms. Fiba Imle, we have had a bit of a preview on career belief, but in this next session, you'll have a more thorough, in-depth discussion about what is career belief and why is career belief such an important topic for us. I can relate, especially amongst, let's say, students who are tribals from any states in Northeast. Most of us, there are several cultural influences, psychological influences that affects our career decision, okay, our career preparation. For example, I'll just give you one example. The case of a khaddo in the culture of Khasi. We have a khaddo, and khaddo is the youngest daughter in a family. I think this is also common in the Garo tribe. Her career aspiration will be limited because of the cultural influence that she is required to stay home and take care of her parents. Now, these are just some example that influences our career plans. But you'll hear more from Dr. Collins, so I would like to request all of you to stay until the end of this session. Remember that your attendance is being recorded through Google Attendance Sheet. If you simply fill the form without attending the session, your attendance will not be considered. So attend the session until the end, and I hope that you will also gain value from this next session. So all the best, everyone, and over to you, Dr. Colleen. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
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 All right. Very, very good afternoon to each and every one of you.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, good afternoon. Before we start, I would like you to please mute your videos as well as your microphones, because that would be disturbing for everyone. We don't want backgrounds, sounds of backgrounds disturbing the sessions. All right, you may be having kids around you, you may be having animals around you, like I do, but it would be kind enough, all right, if you would mute your videos, Jessie, Riame, as well as other, participants. So yes, I welcome on behalf of the career team to the Department of Allied Health Sciences, where I have my students here of diploma and the UG students of Allied Health Sciences. I also welcome the students of Information Technology. I also welcome the students from Environment and Traditional Ecosystems, from Tourism, from Music, and the Department of Theology. So without further ado, I would like to take you on to my session. All right. So do let me know if you cannot see the slide when I am projecting. So can you see the slide? All of you, please respond.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So, all right. Thank you. All right. So the session that I will be taking you across now is quite short, not exactly a very long session. I do not want to bore you out of, the entire sessions that you have sat, but it is something which is quite important that you need to be aware of. Sometimes we tend to forget, and that is what is called as career beliefs. All right. So why do we have this career beliefs? What is the purpose of having this career beliefs? All right. First of all, before I go into the objectives, you should know that what is a career? A career is something which, you are studying, all right? You are working hard in order to reach that goal where you will find a job. And that job is something which you will grow in terms of, financially, as well as emotionally, as well as grow and expand, whether you want to be an entrepreneur or whether you're going to be a teacher or whether you're going to be any kind of a person which you have set that goal, and that will be your future job. That is a career, all right? So it could be a calling, it could be called as a vocation, it could be called as an occupation, but that is a career, but how we look at a person's career, that will be dealt under what is called as career beliefs. So the purpose of this session is, number one, all right, to discover how you look or consider at a career. How you look at a career. So if you look at a job, how do you see it? All right, that is number one. You have to discover. I'm sure that earlier when you started this session today, there were a few days that you were given on an activity to perform something on career beliefs. There is what is called as an inventory. Some of you will discover that you fall under, a very high positive career belief. Some of you may be somewhat towards the neutral, and some of you may fall towards the very negative career belief. So after going through this session,